This is Comics Obscurity, and this is your host, Jack Talk Ty. This is the channel where we talk about comics. We kind of give you some details you may or may not have known. Now, for this particular one, I'm a fan of the old school. I'm talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy. And for those of you who know what I mean about the old school Guardians, I mean the original Guardians as we saw them in the 80s when I was a kid, the guys from the future, from the different timelines, the guy that had Captain America's shield and Lance Astro, you know, those characters. But these guys are popular too. And the first one we're going to talk about here is Mr. Adam Warlock. Okay, now Adam Warlock, he debuted in Fantastic Four number 66 in September of 1967. A group of scientists called the Enclave. They were a group of guys who were major scientists in their fields, genetics and that type of thing, and they had each faked their deaths. Each of these scientists had faked their own death just so they could come together in the underground and do their thing free of any restraints. No families, no nothing. They could just work on science. And they had this thing called the Beehive, which was their base. Now, in the Beehive, they created a life form. They had artificial DNA, if I recall. They didn't use real DNA. This was all stuff they created, which just showed you how brilliant they were. And their plan, I should also tell you, was to make an army of these guys, because they were going to take over the world with this army and then bring in what they felt was an era of peace. But it would be under their control with this army of their artificial beings. These guys were too smart for their own good because they misjudged the power of this being. And this being, he at first was referred to as him. He wasn't called Adam Warlock for a couple of years, as I recall. He was just called him. And him basically broke free of his containment cocoon he had, and one of the scientists got killed even, and he ends up escaping the Earth. He's basically an infant in the body of a man with this infinite power. And he, of course, he goes out into space and he stumbles across different characters. I think the first guy he met was the Watcher. The late Watcher, which we will talk about at some point. You know, he's no longer with us. Yeah, but he's gone. He's left the Earth and he went out into space. And long story short, he went on and had these adventures. He became super powerful. He became a hero. He an artificially created Earth called Counter-Earth. He became the hero of that Earth. He also had alternate versions of himself. There's a version of himself from the future called the Magus, who was evil. His feminine side at one point split off, the feminine aspect of him, and that became the goddess. Now, at one point, a couple points, he's been dead, but he's always come back. And last I heard, because I didn't read the actual story, but I'm on different boards and you see these different spoilers. Last I was told, he had been made into the new living tribunal, which is major, major, major. That's like being promoted from the mailroom to the CEO, basically. Now, I'm not sure if that story is in continuity, though, because it's a Jim Starlin story. I should also add, Adam Warlock is Jim Starlin's baby. And Jim Starlin, it's almost as though no one can touch this character but Jim Starlin. It's almost like that. This latest Jim Starlin thing he's done, I'm not sure if it's in continuity because it has not really been addressed within the official, actual Marvel Universe. So it could be out of continuity. But I will say last I saw, he'd basically become a multi-dimensional god-like being. This next guy here, this guy is Groot, okay? Groot. And yes, he is this old. That comic book is before many of us were even born. Groot first appeared in Tales of Astonish, number 13 in November 1960. Now, Groot is what came out of that Kirby, that Marvel monster era, where all Marvel did was monster books. And Kirby created most of them. Kirby created Groot. You know, so Groot was a tree alien who came to Earth to study humans. Groot comes from Planet X. That's the name of his planet, Planet X. I just love that cheesiness of that. It's just beautiful to me. He basically was part of a tree collective. I read different things that suggest that different versions of Groot have come and gone. I'm not sure just how accurate that is or if this is the same Groot. There's other popular monsters. There's Fin Fang Foom. There's a whole bunch of the Living Colossus, these different characters that Marvel had over the years that were the monster characters that were pretty big. And Groot, as it turns out, has become one of the more popular ones. Okay, now Rocket Raccoon, another just super popular cat. He was popular when I was a kid. It was almost as though Howard the Duck were being done, but with a little more edge to it, you know? So people kind of gravitated towards Rocket Raccoon. He appeared in an issue of the Hulk. This was his actual first comic appearance in this Hulk issue we see here. Prior to this, his first appearance was in Marvel Preview number 7. That was in the summer of 1976. He's not really from a planet of raccoon people. He's an actual animal that was genetically altered along with different animals on the planet that he was a part of. And he eventually, he escaped or was taken by the stranger. And he at some point got free and he's hooked up with Groot. He and Groot are very good friends. And his course through life led him to the Guardians of the Galaxy. But again, these characters have been around for a long time. Now, this particular character, Rocket Raccoon, was created by one of my favorite creators of all time. And I'm talking about Mr. Bill Mantlo, one of the most creative guys. And he fleshed out some of our existing characters. We know about Tony Stark's mother because of this guy. He kind of worked with that storyline with Maria Stark. Bruce Banner. The whole reason Bruce Banner is the Hulk is, aside from the gamma radiation, is the Hulk is the repressed anger and feelings that Bruce kept in from his abusive father. Mr. Bill Mantlo introduced the concept of that abusive father to us in his Hulk run. So that's 3 of the guys you're going to see in the upcoming Guardians movie: Adam Warlock, Groot, and Rocket Raccoon. I should also add, Rocket Raccoon in his first appearance in the Marvel preview book, Rocket Raccoon was called Rocky. He was not even called a Rocket. I think the Rocket came later in the Hulk appearance. He was Rocky Raccoon. And I guess someone from Bullwinkle and Rocky's camp might have hollered at him and said, "Hey guys, cut it out, I don't know." At any rate, I have been Jack Talk Ty. And this has been Comics Obscurity. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We got more stuff coming for you week after week after week. Just keep clicking, keep watching, leave us a comment, and let us know how you feel about what we're doing. We'll talk to you soon.